we live?
Yes.
Alive and live. But it's good to be both of those. So it is 5:22, okay? I always pick the time so I can do it on two hands. 5:22, all right? And we're going to read a story today, and it's an awesome story of triumph, okay? And it is one of my favorite stories. I love it. It's just so dramatic and energetic and entertaining, and we're going to try to make that go to another level for you. We're trying some different things on how we're reading the book so you can see the pictures and stuff. So hopefully that helps out. I also like to take a little bit of time before we start the book so that maybe people are gathering in that virtual world that we're all in right now. So getting together. It's awesome to be here. And so the name of the book that we're going to read today is called A Wish for Wings That Work. So A Wish for Wings That Work. It's by a guy by the name of Berkeley Breathed. Okay, and it's actually a Christmas story. Yeah, an Opus Christmas story. I don't think you can get much more triumphatic. Margaret, help me with words. Than that. Okay, and so this especially goes out to Lisa Thompson Eisler today. She wanted a happy story, and I thought about it long and hard, and I think she's going to really like this one. So this is especially for Lisa. Are you ready? Are you guys all ready? Okay, good. I heard someone. All right. A Wish for Wings That Work by Berkeley Breathed. And he also drew all the pictures. And interestingly enough, he says, all men dream, but not equally, which is a quote from T.E. Lawrence, okay? And a lot of times people dedicate their books to certain people, but he actually wrote that quote, which I thought was a little different. It was a good morning to fly, even if it had come late and slow and so cold that a penguin feared his nose might freeze and drop off like one of the icicles hanging over the porch. Fly, Opus whispered to himself as he ran to the top of Duck's Breath Ridge at dawn to watch the snow ducks soar above. Fly, he whispered as he lifted his wings and waited to be swept up beneath the fading Christmas moon with the other birds. But it was on mornings such as this that Opus's heart grew as cold as his nose. A penguin can surely say the word fly, but he cannot do it. A bird with wings that don't work? Opus growled to himself. What good is that? What good am I? I might as well have been born a snail or a piece of Melba toast. One day during lunch, he climbed the statue in the park and offered to share his last pickle with the pigeons, but they just rolled their eyeballs around and moved away. It is not our pleasure, they sniffed, to share pickles with birds whose wings do not work. If my wings will not lift me, I'll find something that does, thought Opus. He heard a man screaming on TV about a new product everyone should own called a Flap-O-Matic. Opus quickly ordered one. When it arrived, he put it together and hoped everything was right, since the instructions were in a different language. Opus carried it up to Vulture Gorge, strapped it on, and wound up the rubber band, stepping to the edge. Opus looked down to the bottom, 3 miles below. Yeah. He gulped, he sighed, and walked back home and spent the rest of the day cooking anchovy Christmas cookies, which wasn't nearly as dangerous. And then Opus knew what he should do. That night he sat in front of his warm fireplace, considered his words carefully, and wrote an important letter. Dear Santa Claus, in the past I have asked for a scarf that would last. I have wished for new skates or some herring rum cakes. But since my wings sputter at those times they should flutter, I thought you should know I need wings that will go. After mailing his Christmas wish, Opus congratulated himself that a penguin could be so clever, and he immediately went up to Duck's Breath Ridge and to practice takeoffs. Santa Claus will be bringing me new wings, announced Opus to a passing snow duck. I shall be flying on Christmas morning. Christmas Eve soon arrived, and after leaving a note of welcome to Santa Claus in the fireplace, the penguin, whose wings would not work, tucked himself into bed. He burrowed down deep in his thick quilt, curled his knees up to his chin, scratched his nose one last time, and as a flock of snow ducks drifted silently across the full Christmas moon, closed his eyes. Fly, Opus whispered to himself just before falling asleep. I'll be flying on Christmas morning. And then he was snoring. Look, there, above the hills, above the clouds, a soft glow, growing brighter, closer. What is it? It was much too early for the sun. Maybe it was a duck with a flashlight. Listen, sleigh bells ringing. Ducks don't wear sleigh bells. Why, it was him, of course. And with the thunder of hooves, Father Christmas himself burst through the midnight clouds. On over the countryside, Santa's sleigh swooped and glided and zoomed and... Wait! There was a bump! A little thump. Probably just some bumpy air, or maybe not. Something was not right. A small piece of the harness had broken away. The reindeer flew on, but Santa's sleigh plummeted like a meteor toward the lake. Hello? Hello? Wake up! Emergency! A voice hollered. Who's jumping about on my bed? Asked Opus, rubbing the sleep from his eyes. A snow duck was holding a light over Opus and looking very upset. Catastrophe, calamity, the duck hollered. A considerable setback. Please, follow me. Opus sighed and guessed that the milkman had slipped and gotten his head stuck in the porch railing again. He crawled out of bed and stumbled outside behind his midnight intruder. There, said the snow ducks, and they pointed toward the dark lake. They lifted the little penguin so he could see better. Opus could just make out something, a lantern out on the water. A big man with a white beard standing atop a sleigh that was teetering, rocking, and sinking. Opus gasped in horror. Down the snowy bank, Opus scampered, a flash in black and white as he hit the water. With a roar, a shimmering curtain of spray erupted behind the rushing missile. It held in the air for longest seconds, catching the moonlight before falling. Toad frogs leaped, catfish jumped, and Opus flew strong and fast through the icy water, a wonderful, roaring, graceful torpedo sailing through the darkness. He was swimming. And swimming, after all, is what penguins do best. There, whispered a snow duck from the water's edge. Look there, he said, pointing now, for something was moving toward them. It was Opus, and he was pulling that great Christmas sled and all the toys through the freezing water with the reins in his teeth. There was great sloshing and frothing and... Laughing? Somebody was laughing from out from the sleigh. A deep voice of good cheer drifted in over the water. Ho, 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 it rumbled faintly. Ho, 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 go! Opus stumbled, exhausted, onto the dock. His arms ached, and it hurt to breathe. He noticed many eyes watching him, and he tried his best to straighten his red bow tie. He had brought the sleigh safely to shore. The reindeer were waiting there patiently. The large man in the red suit approached, grasped his hand, and shook it gently. Santa's wide pink face came down close, and his whiskers brushed Opus's ear. Opus noted his kind eyes, one of which winked softly. I see no penguins here, Santa whispered, whose wings only sputter. Tonight it was courage that flew yours beyond others. He whirled, and with a snap of a whip and a hearty laugh, he and the sleigh sailed up toward the stars. Opus awoke Christmas morning and stumbled sleepily to the door, but he found something besides the morning paper outside. He rubbed his eyes in disbelief. There on his front porch and spreading out across his lawn and down the street were hundreds, maybe even thousands of smiling snow ducks. And each and every one wore a little bright red bow tie. Two of the ducks took hold of his arms and led him outside, where slowly at first, and then faster, they all began running and flapping their wings. What's going on? Said Opus, but he already knew, for his feet weren't on the ground anymore. Over the street and above the houses, those ducks carried Opus until they were way, way, way above Duck's Breath Ridge. Down below, people looked up, for they could hear a voice somewhere above the clouds. It was a penguin whose wings didn't work, laughing, because he surely was flying on Christmas morning. The end. So I hope you liked A Wish for Wings That Work, A Christmas Story by Berkeley Breathed. It's an awesome book. There is so much hope and triumph in the world. There really is. And I have to tell you, even while reading this, I was like starting to get emotional and I like wanted to cry. And it's okay to cry. And it's okay to be joyous. And it's just okay. Everything is going to be okay. So I know we missed a day. Yesterday was supposed to be story time. And truthfully, it was a little rough. So I think we're going to try to shoot for Tuesday. We do have kind of the book that I like to say started off my story times forever ago, which is called The Giving Tree. And so we might do this. This is Compliments of the Nicely Family. Adam and Kate, they lent us this book, so we're going to have to get it back to them. But I want to give a special shout out to some friends I know that have been watching. First of all, to one special friend, and this is especially for her, okay? And I know she's living with her mom and her dad out there in Pennsylvania. And her name is Kay! Hello, Kay! I missed you the other day when we read, and I'm sorry, but I'm thankful. I hope you're here today, okay? We got Silas and Benny. You know, they're out somewhere like, I don't even know where they live, in Arkansas or somewhere far away. And then we have Bennett, who lives right here in Collingswood, who's a friend of mine. I know he tunes in sometimes. Also, my neighbors Thomas and James, which live on the other side of this wall over here, okay? And then I've got my three boys, Ethan, Andrew, and JD. They're my grandchildren, and I love reading to them. We also have Dakota, who has chimed in and watched, and thank you very much. And then we have Cece. Cece, hey, you wrote me a note the other day. I got to see it. Thank you so much. Hey, God bless you all. I love you all. I hope to see and hug and see you and touch you and know you again eventually. Maybe we won't touch for a long time, but hey, adios.